Dope, dope. This will be our last one. I'm kind of tie everything together and lead us out. But going forward, how important are spaces and conversations like this? What's your takeaway?
Mama. Okay. So I feel like it's very important. Like this takeaway. Hopefully, I have learned a lot just listening to you guys, the other panelists. So thank you. Um, and you just know, hopefully, like I learned a lot. Hopefully, everybody's learning a lot. Basically, And if you could just, for me, the takeaway is just to just respect, please respect people, right? Show some love and like just keep on learning, and because there's too much ignorant in the H word in this world, and I would think we need some more light and love, you know.
Well, I'll just add on to. I think that within my community, I'm sure in a lot of yours, we talk about black excellence. We're talking about praise. Yes, queen. Yes, king. Go, my brother. Yes. And I think that when a general population thinks about black excellence, they may be thinking about celebrities. They may be thinking about basketball players. They may be thinking about pop stars. These people who that kind of rocket ship of celebrity creates so much distance between you and the reality of like where you can arrive at. Not everybody needs to be LeBron James. Not everybody needs to be Oprah. I think that for me, being here today in conversations like this, I'm like, there's black excellence on this stage. There's black excellence in your community center. There's black excellence at that black-owned business. I think that if you want to look to have these kinds of conversations, you can have them with the people who are already near you. And I think that in these rooms, like the work that Mav is doing for these kids, somebody was doing that work for me in New York. And like shout out to Miguel Rockefeller and Quickstep who took me in New York. And it was like at a really, really confusing time in my life. And I wouldn't be able to say any of the words that have come out of my mouth today if not for those shoulders that I've stood on and those conversations that I have with, shout out to Rennie Harris as well, and Pop Master Fable was my first teacher. The teachers and the words and the spirit and the feeling. Each of us is so unique and different, even just in the way that we express ourselves with our words. And that's going to be different in the way that we move through the world and the way that we move on a stage or in the street or at home cooking. It's not all disconnected, and we're people. We're not just dancers. We're humans, and we have to hustle to survive, but also like we're all also looking to be cut a break sometimes, and I really appreciate that you walking around the stage, because I forget about anger, because my anger is often suppressed. I'm scared to express it. And so to see you do that is I'm really appreciative of that, and I'm grateful to get that lesson from you today. So thank you for that as well.
I think it's also important because it allows us to identify with our own thoughts or questions, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I've listened to a couple of, I have a habit of listening to panel discussions and just chats and talks on YouTube. But a lot of times I don't know, I don't know how to describe how I'm feeling until I hear somebody on the panel say, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, now that I know when somebody comes to me, I know how to tell them off. Like, no, I'm just playing. But I know how to express myself better. I'll have the words now or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's always good to open conversation because a lot of times we address our fears here, you know what I'm saying? And I think it makes it, it gives it an opportunity for people to have those conversations with each other, which I feel like is the most important part about panel discussions, is that we keep having these conversations within our communities or in our own groups or with each other, with our friends. I just experienced a long 4-hour car ride with my friends. We were just talking. And I think that that's basically, we should live life like that, having conversations. And when you put people up on the stage and maybe get the conversation started, but I think the most important part, is when we have these conversations amongst ourselves, because I feel like we can be more honest with each other, but at least have a little bit of a, an educated point of view to go along with it, to lead us there, you know what I'm saying? So we just not somewhere stuck, you know, just with our trifling thoughts, you know? So that's how I feel about it.
Street knowledge is a quintessential element of hip hop. So you can't, you know, in the words of Flavor Flav, you know what time it is? That's why he wore the clock. So ultimately, like the notion of the conversation is continuing to educate each other about what time we are living in. This panel discussion, like everyone has said, is a good start, but we do need to actually talk to one another. You know what I mean? Like the things that are desperate in hip hop in relationship to other cultures are the same things that separate humanity, a lack of understanding. So the more conversations we have, the more communication we have, the more we can understand each other for their differences and kind of accept everybody for their differences, but recognize we all human so that we can move forward. You know what I mean? So these conversations, yes, they need to continue, they need to exist. My takeaway is more movement sanctuaries, let's make it happen.
Yes, yes.